A few days ago, my brother and we walked into a school. It's the kind of school that as students, when we were young and that age, we could never have dreamt about going to a school like that. It's not because we're dumb. It's not because we don't like education, we're not interested in learning. It's none of those. Actually, the reason is beyond us. We simply were not born into a world like that. Let's put it in more blunt terms. Our parents couldn't afford that. You see, to send your kids to a school like that, it actually costs the average salary of somebody. You see, these kind of schools, when you graduate from them, you come out with a good network system. The people that you meet, the entourage you're around, they will help you get set up in life. They have the state of the art facilities, the state's best athletic teams. They actually have classrooms that are quiet enough for you to learn and focus in. And organization is so good that the kids don't even need a bell to go from class to class. In my school, that was unheard of. It's the kind of school that when kids watch something like Harry Potter and they imagine themselves in this school that even the students were interesting. The environment was all about learning and like there was a competition about learning. It wasn't based on survival. It's the kind of environment that you don't choose. You're either born into that to a big extent or you're not born into it. So you basically have no say in this. When we sat inside, my brother and we looked, and on the wall there was like this timeline. And the timeline had like the history parts of the school. And it wasn't things like, 1950 we opened a library. It wasn't stuff like that. It was major things like 1970s, they had breakthrough technology. They had a computer. And computers back then in the 1970s, they cost tens of thousands of dollars. And this school was like the first to have it. So other schools would come in and like marvel at this technology that they had. They had major politicians visit them. They had alumni who had become celebrities. They'd come back and, become major athletic, representatives of the whole country. This is the kind of things they had in their timeline. They had a textbook about that thick that had the whole history of the school. Imagine. In short, they were a school that mattered. The reception area alone was the size of about 5 classrooms of schools that we attended. We sat there, my brother and we were like bedazzled, just looking around, and we had to I'm sure he was doing the same thing, but you had to just make sure that your jaw didn't drop. You don't want to be looking around like. So we have to keep ourselves looking cool, neutral. This is just an everyday thing for us. And then my brother said to me, hey. I said, what's up? He said, see that light over there? And I looked up and I seen this big panel, blue panel. I looked and I said, yeah, what is that? He said, you know why they have this? I said, no. And I'm thinking I really don't know what that is. I've never seen anything like it. He said, see how the sky outside is blue? I said, yeah. He said, this kind of gives a natural ambience so that here feels also blue. I was like, wow. And then I looked and it changed to red. I looked at my brother and I was like, why did it turn red? And then he looked at me and he was like, I don't know. And we both laughed. We laughed because we don't even know what those panels were. You see, we were there for business. And in particular, we were there to deliver workshops about resilience, confidence, identity, mindset, those kind of things that we speak on in this channel. These are the kind of things that we struggled with as we were growing up, and we had to figure these things out ourselves. And, there was a moment where my brother and I were communicating to each other like, sometimes when you're close to someone, you can communicate without talking. You just look at them, they know what you're on about, and you know what they're on about. And we kind of communicated to each other. We looked at each other and it's like saying, this is not normal to us. This is something we didn't have. We didn't inherit this kind of opportunity. We had to earn resilience. That's the way we worked. And I say these things without bitterness because that's life. There's always a situation when someone is privileged and someone else is underprivileged. And this reality about being privileged and underprivileged is reality, and it hits us sometimes. Sometimes as you're struggling and you're working and you're giving it your best, you suddenly look and everything that you've worked for, everything you're trying to achieve, someone else was just born with it. There's a car you dream about. Someone else just has that car. Their parents got it for them for their 18th birthday. They've never worked a day in their life. And sometimes these realities can hit us hard and make us feel frustrated with life. Tupac puts this nicely. He has an interview where he says, there should be a class on apartheid. There should be a class on why there are people who are hungry. But there are not. Instead, we have gym class and physical education. In another interview, he says, you have 2 kids, just keep it to 2 rooms. Why have 52 rooms when there's someone with no rooms? When you hear this talk, some people who are maybe privileged might hear him and think, hey, why so bitter? Why so touchy? You see, he comes from somewhere where they had nothing. And then when you have nothing, and then you see that you're working hard, you're going out there and putting in 10-hour days, 15-hour days of work, and then you come back with nothing. Yeah, you can't help but feel that, why? And you feel that it's unfair. It's so easy to fall into that bitterness because you walk into a beautiful neighborhood, you walk into fine establishments, and you've come from the most humble beginnings. Your mind starts to talk to you. It starts telling you, you know what we saw on social media, those successful personalities that pose in front of their Ferraris or in their big mansions. And those guys are just letting you know what success is. All the things that you don't have, that's what success is. And to be successful, and you gotta meet those standards. For people to look at you with respect, that's what your mind is telling you. Oh, you know why that girl doesn't like you? Because you don't drive a good car. You don't have good clothes. You know why that person at work doesn't respect you? Because you use the train to work. You don't have a car. You know why your boss looks down upon you? Because he gets paid triple what you get paid. Your mind starts to talk to you. And then when you see someone who has gotten all these things without doing anything, you're a kid at school. I'm at school. He's at school. We've both started. Why is it that that kid can have these kind of shoes and someone else can't? Your mind asks questions. And that's me listening to Tupac and understanding what he has gone through to feel the way that he does. And then with all that filling your head, these thoughts start slipping inside your head. And this is where, someone like Tupac, they come out with frustration and passion to express those things. But other people don't express it like Pac. Some people express it with hate crime, robberies. Some other people express it with paintings. They express their frustrations with paintings. So there are ways that we can express our frustrations, but what we need to do is recoup. We need to center ourselves. We need to see it for what it is. Fair or unfair, we need to drop judgments. We need to clear up a word. When people say life is unfair, that is not true. Don't say life is unfair. Say social life is unfair. Big difference here. Life has a way to balance things. Social life, however, is built on something else. Social life is built on constructs of greed, elusive hierarchy. It's built on comparisons. And those things, you cannot allow them to penetrate your mind. The moment you do, you're going to fall down. When you see someone who's privileged more than you, remember, it is social. Whether you come from a very high class or very low class, whether you come from a lot of privilege or no privilege, whether you have a lot of privilege or none, mindset doesn't care. We're all the same there. It's in the social realm that we're different, not in the mindset. Mindset works exactly the same way. Mindset rewards only those who work on it. Mindset develops only in those who invest in it. Whether you have billions of dollars or no dollars, it means shit. In one moment, you could be stripped of all your money. You could have $1 billion and then depression hits you and hey, there goes your $1 billion. What does it mean? When you're in the poor mentality, you think they can buy whatever they want. Why should somebody who has $1 billion be depressed? But you see, that's you speaking out of what you lack. But let me give you a scenario. You become a billionaire, okay? And may you become a billionaire. But suddenly, the thing that you become or the thing that you have becomes your insecurity. Suddenly, you look at friends and you're like, do they want to be my friend or is it because I got money? Or you fall in love with somebody. Hey, she doesn't really love me. She likes me only because I got money. If I didn't have money, would she like me? And then that becomes insecurity for you. You start thinking about everything like that. So that scenario is highly possible. And it's a very old scenario. What was that movie? Aladdin. If you remember in Disney's Aladdin, the princess, she's not happy. And she feels all this royal stuff is too much for her. So she disguises as a poor beggar and goes out into the streets. And in fact, there's a few stories. I mean, even the story of Buddha as a son of a prince or son of a king. And he was a prince and he was never allowed to go outside of the gates so as to not see poverty and such. And then when he escapes and he sees it, it really, really affects him. So these stories are not new. And they're telling you something. It's the mindset. Know what you have, because what you have comes and goes. What you have can get affected by so many things. And you see, there's something about the human mind. It's never satisfied with what it is given easily. So yeah, you may have more. And in a materialist society, that's an advantage. But mindset, we all begin in the same place. All of us. And that's the kind of grit you need to learn. No one is superior to me because of what they have. No one. You were born with something, hey, good luck. Use it to your advantage. But your mindset hasn't developed even this much from what you were born with. You need to work on it. Anytime you're faced with the insecurity of privilege, just remember, you need to face it. And remember, it's just a roll of the dice. What you're born with cannot be your insecurity or your security, because those things you never worked on. You were just born there. The race you're born into, you were just born there. You did nothing to get anything. You need to remind yourself. That was roll of the dice. I don't care how good that person thinks they are because of what they're born with. They didn't do anything to get that thing. So the better way to think about it is that whatever scenario you're in has an advantage for you. You just need to see how to seize it. If you're just worried about who has more money than you, just remember, it's a trap. And it's a trap people have known for thousands of years. You might think that someone else is better than you because of where it seems they're starting the race. And I say the word seems, but that is a false premise. Totally flawed. We might have grown up socially underprivileged. We don't have a big social standing. We might have been immigrants, a foreign race in a country where we never feel we belong. We might have not known the language. Whatever it be, it might turn out to your advantage. This reminds me of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I remember him talking about when he was first interviewed. He wanted to be an actor, and they said to him, with that funny accent of yours, with a name that nobody can pronounce, and with your body, you think anyone would accept your body? This is back in the 70s where being muscular was not in fashion. So he was shamed for three things that he actually became famous for. Social life has an element of competition in it. We cannot ignore that. And in competition, it reminds me of the book The Art of War. In The Art of War, we learn where you need to stand, how to use your environment to the best of your ability, how to read signs. And if there's one point to look out for, it's that no one is satisfied with what they're given. Even people who are born rich. Look at how many rich people in history have been taken advantage of from, gurus or whatever. Because the privilege that you're born with is not a purpose. The purpose is the thing that you lack. Whatever you have, you feel emptiness somewhere else. And then that thing that you're feeling the emptiness with, that's the thing that you're going to have to work on. For example, let's just say we're lacking money. We're going to always say that, but if I had money, all my problems would be solved. If I had love, a relationship, then all my problems would be solved. Your your vision in the future is always with what you lack. And this is the core of the human being. Mindset, my friend. With mindset, you can build wealth, freedom. You can build yourself. And the limit, that's yours to define.